Welcome to Olsem Wanem. In this episode, we place the spotlight on the lack of primary school teachers in rural areas. We find out what the European Union is doing to help address the shortage of teachers in Milne Bay Province under its Human Resource Development Program.
My name is John Stannenberg. At the moment I'm in Port Moresby leading the team of the Human Resources Development Program.
The Human Resources Development Program Phase 1 by the European Union aims to strengthen the education sector in Papua New Guinea.
Okay, the program has been running since 2012. It is supposed to end December this year, but an extension has been given to the project. We've received extra funding for more scholarships, so it will now end December 2017, and we have just given about 700 scholarships to students from remote areas to become primary school teachers. So they will all graduate, we hope, by 2017. The government of Papua New Guinea had the foresight many years ago that in order to strengthen the human resources development in Papua New Guinea, they should really look at strengthening primary education. If education is strong, then the development of the human resources will be strong as well. So they went to the European Union, asked for funding, and the European Union decided to put nearly 50 million kina into strengthening the primary teaching sector. The way that it does it is through more access. So we are building, for instance, more dormitories and classrooms at 3 teacher training colleges in Papua New Guinea. Besides having more facilities, we're also training more primary school teachers. And we're doing that through scholarships. So we've decided that it was a good idea to take students from remote areas, have them go to a teacher training college through a scholarship, fully funded, and after 2 years, the old program, now the new program, after 3 years, these teachers will go back to their remote areas.
Education is an important sector in any country, also in our own countries in Europe, of course. Government has always put a large emphasis on education, and more recently also come out with this policy of free primary education and wants to expand that program further. We fully support this. Education is important in urban areas as it is in the rural areas, but in Papua New Guinea you have 85% of the population still in rural areas. So we have to reach out also to go there with education. So the selection system to get in teachers into our training courses in the teacher training colleges all over the country. For example, here in Port Moresby there is Bomana, the Bomana Sacred Heart Teacher Training College is focusing on remote areas. We try to get teachers from there to the teacher training college and then let them go through a training course of some 18 months where they get a quality training, and then they have to sign up with us a declaration that they go back to their remote village and at least serve 3 years in this remote village. So we try to reach out to get the education also to the last corner of Papua New Guinea so that the population has overall a chance to get a quality education.
You have foreigners who are from the region or from Australia and New Zealand who are taking up positions that Papua New Guineans really should be taking up. But there is no supply of local skills. So, not enough, I should say. So therefore, now with the LG project and many other projects that are happening in PNG, there is a need for more people who are skilled. And we just hope that with the government policy of tuition fee-free education, together with us focusing on producing more primary school teachers, that there will be a good base to continue. If the students are happy in primary school, they will go on to secondary school. Some provinces might get more students simply because they have more remote areas. Milne Bay, for instance, being a maritime province, has an awful lot of remote areas where you can only go by boat in order to get to the village. So, but I think overall it's equally spread out. Yeah, we haven't focused on any particular province in particular. We are going to conduct a tracer study because the first cohort that we had about over 240 primary school teachers. I cannot really say what percentage is really teaching in the remote areas. I hope it's 100%, but the tracer study will tell us more about that in a couple of months.
We, as European Union, we always think with our host government. So in this case, we were to the Department of Planning, we were to the Department of Education. So we have talked a lot about these issues. And we have both come to the conclusion, government and ourselves, that it's good to continue in this sector. So we have forthcoming further projects in education for the next 2, 3, 4 years. And then we have a next allocation of money. In fact, quite a large sum. I just spoke that we have allocated more to Papua New Guinea for the next 5 years than we had in the past, because we believe in strengthening our relationship. And we will have 90 million kina in future, for the next 5 years, basically, for education.
Milne Bay Province is a significant example of a province that lacks primary school teachers in remote areas. The Provincial Education Authority highlights some of the challenges. Many teachers face difficulties because of various reasons, such as the geographical locations of schools. Milne Bay Provincial Education Advisor Roma Tuidam highlights that systems in education may not suit all provinces.
TSC, in terms of our funding system, that it says you have to be at a school site resuming filling up order, not here at Alotau. Now that's the funny situation. So Budi teacher, 7 days from here, we will not resume him in Alotau. We need to somehow take him all the way to Budi. While at Budi, the positions are done, resumed. And then now, where is that boat next 7 days to bring the documents all the way in here? And when I mentioned this, we got the Woodlark Murua LOG teachers, were all of them on auto suspension this fortnight because of the scenario in here. Strong wind warning, boat was delayed in here. No boat was willing to take Murua teachers out there because of strong wind warning. And my appointment officer went to convince the business responsible how best to take the teachers. But he says, well, this is the only boat that I have, and I will not risk it. So they were here for 2 weeks while their colleagues have already resumed. So when they went and resumed, brought the documents, papers back, we signed them. They're also late. We can convince the salary office and TSC that, yes, we got cyclone. We might have the best explanation, but due date is due date for Finco House. We are also using European Union to really address the needed most areas in terms of shortage of teachers. Yes. So when team is out for recruitment, because like we're unable to continuously visit the colleges because of funding issue, we only go once to recruit. So when we go in there are other provinces also have sponsored students in those colleges. So when we do our interviews, we only take on students that are either under European Union. In other words, they are automatic, and because they're from Milne Bay and the European Union, they're automatic. And students from being sponsored under the members of parliament, they become more like automatic on our. But the other ones on government scholarship, that's for the country. We go according to the number of students that we need in the province, and which is traditionally that's what we've been doing. And until the program European Union came on board and plus the members funding came on board, we are now sitting down and looking at where the need areas are. So we recruit, pay what we need in the province, and not overdoing during recruitment, because you know, we have limited spaces. I mean, limited spaces in terms of what we already have on the ground. You know, because everyone wants to save in a urban area, Alotau, you know, where accessible, and no one is trying to walk, you know, 3 days to the mountain or 7 days boat travel to Woodlark. Yes.
In education, if we don't have teachers in those areas, mostly remote areas are hard hit, you know, or hit hard, and we have children not at school. And when they're not at school, they're deprived of their right. You know, the government say, you know, the right of children is education. They must be educated, even at the age of 6. That's if we go down to elementary. And even primary schools, high schools, I mean, all education institutes in general, but particularly the community and primary schools are. So the effect is students are not receiving education. Even they're deprived of their right going to school at the right age.
They expressed that the European Union has played a significant role by helping boost their teacher capacity, especially in remote areas.
We place them all in our schools, particularly our remote areas. And I'd like to give a classical example of Ferguson Island. Ferguson Island, we have 5 schools that we struggle year by year without getting what we want, especially for teachers. And that is Ukeokeo, Iguageta, Fagururu, and Salakadi. Salakadi, virtually, there's no teacher want to go there. And so the good news came that when Bomana sent out these teachers, we got 4 of them up to Salakadi, and we even forced one of them to be the headmaster. And we found that we did not abuse the system. Year went by, then we got more new graduates coming up. We saw that Raba has benefited from this program as well, because this is the area that also many teachers do not want to go to. Most of their schools are inland, and you know, the area is very mountainous, and teachers just do not want to go there. This program has given us a lot of insights, as we feel that these teachers are well trained, and they're able to go out to the remote areas and teach.
In Milne Bay, we got our situation, and we need to respond to the government's intention of the day: access, retention, to ensure that there is a quality education. And such situations on the ground, it asks for innovative ideas to address students in order for them to access education.
Welcome back. In this segment, we hear the stories of some of the European Union scholarship recipients who are now teaching in some of the remote parts of Milne Bay Province.
Okay, those are some of the examples. That I don't achieve this forest now All of my life I spent it here in Milne Bay Province, especially my home ground. My father is a teacher, he's also the headmaster, so I travel around with him all through the district, especially in Milne Bay, Esaala. And imagine some of us traveling from nowhere to Mosby. We never been there in Mosby, but just because of to be educated and the European Union stepping in, they carry the burdens of our parents. In my entire life, I didn't think of becoming a teacher. After all, when there was nobody, I was like useless now on the streets, nobody to help me, and here comes the European Union showing me the interest. Okay, and that's I said that's an opportunity, and it's a golden opportunity. Yeah, it comes first and last, maybe for my lifetime.
Okay, thank you. My name is Naomi Kwaila. I come from Milne Bay Province, partly the Choban Islands, and my home village is Kwebola. The advantage is that we know the people. We can communicate well with them, so they can assist and help us do our within the school grounds, especially regarding community activities and works. Yeah, basically it's an advantage because we speak the same language and we can understand each other when it comes to, so we can also convey certain things and information to them because most of them are illiterate. So when we speak to them in our own language, they are able to understand certain things.
I'm Yaron Tobio. I'm from Milne Bay Province, partly from Kiruna. I completed my grade 10 in 1999, so I didn't get any offer. So I stayed at home and got married to a teacher. And maybe I spent my time with my family about 15 years doing gardening. I just can't express my feelings because I was in very hard life. But when I found out that the European Union sponsored me, I was very, it something make me, my feelings change. I just want to thank the European Union for sponsoring me to become a teacher. If my own, I can't go furthermore, but through European Union, now I am somebody in the community.
My name is Ian Sailoya. I'm a teacher here in Lucia Primary School. Before I was awarded the scholarship under European Union, EU, I was just a normal village person. I went to business college. I got a diploma in business studies. And then I didn't manage to find any job, so I decided to go back to the village and live a normal village life. Gardening, fishing, doing the normal things that a villager do. And then I heard of the establishment of Sacred Teachers College, and the EU was sponsoring students. So I decided to apply to EU, and I was accepted, and that's how I became a teacher. I'm very thankful because while I was a student at Secretariat, they met all my cost, travel cost to and fro, also travel allowances, and while I was at college, they helped me with allowances to help me buy my stationery, buy soap. So they have looked after me very well. I believe without the EU, my parents couldn't meet some of those costs. But because of the EU stepping in, my parents were more relaxed.
I'm Hena Waibadi. Okay, before I received the EU scholarship, I was in the village with my grandma. So I lived a normal life, helping my grandparents in the village. And then when the scholarship, I heard about the scholarship, I decided to apply in. And when I applied in, I was accepted. And I was so happy to join the scholarship because it has done great things in my life. My first year, I had to double classes. It was quite challenging, doubling classes, because there were lack of teachers. Two, in a very old bush material house, I was teaching. And when it rained, we would run out and in of the classroom. My parents were angry. They asked me to give up, but I said, you did not pay for my needs to get to school. Someone else did it for me, so I have to fulfill why I am here, to be in a remote area. So I have to teach for the last 2 years. I was not on the pay for a year. With Ian, he was paid in the mid-year. For me, I was not paid for the whole year. I would eat fruit, so maybe one banana bake, one banana eat, and go to school. Very challenging, but because I was on my own, I still enjoyed it. Okay.
Welcome back. We now find out what some people think about the European Union's initiative of sponsoring students to be trained as teachers and to return to their remote communities to teach in schools.
Thank you. First of all, I think it's a good initiative to have some public programs around Europe Day coming up on the 9th of May. And this is a relatively new one to promote what the European Union is doing in our country. And at the outset, I want to say on behalf of our government that we're very grateful for the many years that the countries of the European Union have been assisting many developing countries in the world, including those of us that are in the ACP, which is the African, Caribbean and Pacific part of the world. And Papua New Guinea has been benefiting for many years from the kind generosity of the people in the European countries that comprise the European Union, and we're grateful for that. And as we celebrate another Europe Day on the 9th of May, we just want to reinforce and repeat and express that gratitude to them.
We, the staff, and I believe the parents out there in the rural remote community are very, very grateful, and we appreciate very much the European Union coming on board to support the training for the vision of rural teacher development. And we're very grateful because all these students are coming from this. We want to try this one out in Southern region and see how it is. And the students are from very, very remote parts of PNG in the Southern region.
It's a great initiative that they've done, and I would like to thank them because it's not someone from Papua New Guinea who invented this. There are people from outside trying to help Papua New Guineans and Milne Bay people who are not being recognized in the communities. The European Union have recognized them and set us to go for education. And currently they have brought great help to our rural areas, to our parents, those who cannot find help. They have now helped us. So this initiative, it's great. And I'm very much thankful for this initiative that they have done to educate rural students for rural areas. Currently, because of this education, some students are well off and they are happy. Those students who are in the rural areas are saved because of us who have come out. So this initiative is very helpful, and I thank them for the initiative.
The European Union is very nice. They lowered themselves down to the level of the grassroots, I would say that. Some of the parents can't afford, which the European Union's coming in to afford that, especially in the fees.
I appreciate very much for especially the European Union helping us. Is these people, we take them from the village with no financial background at all, and the program helps them, of course, for them to help the community as well as themselves to see there is a pathway of a future. Yeah.
It's a challenge to government and other development partners. The way European Union is targeting development towards rural setting, because if you see the bulk of our population, more than 80% of Papua New Guineans are living in the rural areas, and targeting a sector like the rural is very important. So the partnership with the European Union is very good, and we hope other donors will follow suit.
And that's all we have time for on Olsem Wanem. Thank you to all who have participated in this episode. If you have any stories or comments you would like to share, please contact us via the address now showing on your screen or visit our Facebook page. For now, enjoy the rest of your viewing on your #1 station, EMTV, the lead broadcaster of the 2015 Pacific Games.